Guys, I'm gonna take you through the dynamic flexibility stuff that we went over the other day. And I'm gonna kind of fly through it, and I'm only gonna do 1 or 2 repetitions so that you can have just one video and just pause it, and then when you get to the next one, you'll understand what to do. But I need you to do a minimum of 6 repetitions, really roughly 10 repetitions, and holding for about a second or 2 each one. At the same time, remember, keep the tension on the band, keep the energy in the band as you then bring the leg down, for example. Contract the muscle that we're trying to stretch, pull, and let that bring the band down, and then bring it right back up. Try to gain a little bit more range of motion, hold it for a second or 2, and then let it go back down. Remember, as we start, we're going to wrap this. We want a purple band, at least a 1/2 inch thick or greater, strength band, and we want to donate it around the foot. I like to keep it around the middle of the foot, closer to the ball of the foot, so I can get the greatest range of motion possible. And I want to keep my chest out, shoulders down through all of this. So we're going to get, the secondary benefit of this is, getting some good isometric back holding and some good grip work here. So make sure you stretch your fingers at the end that I taught you. All right, first thing first, we're going to do that gas pedal. But we're going to get as much tension. We're going to pull chest out, get good tension. I need 10 full gas pedals all the way down. You can do the ABCs all the way up to letter Z if you want, cursive, uppercase, lowercase, I don't care. But it's going to give you the greatest range of motion and most mobility and strength at the same time. That's going to build up the endurance of your ankle as well. So you can go through the ABCs. Remember, chest out, good tension. But what I also want you to make sure you do is to invert that foot. Give tension on that band. So if it's wrapped around my left leg, I'm going to invert that foot by pulling with my right arm, almost like I'm straightening that ankle. Okay? Because now what I want you to do is really strengthen by everting that foot out, by pulling that foot out and squeezing along this line. Holding for a second, 2 or 3. Pulling back in. Boom. Just like that. All right? 10 of those. From there, we're going to sit down. And now we're going to go into the hamstring stretch. All right? We're going to get 10 with the hamstring. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hold it up here. Remember now, we want to work right behind our knee, the attachments of where our calf is, and the end of our hamstring. And we're going to give some good tension, and then we're going to bend and extend for 10 quick ones. You push your heel to the ceiling, you're really going to feel it. That's going to increase the intensity of the stretch when you push that heel to the ceiling. And then the last 10 is going to be with a little bit of a bent knee, so that now the stretch will go a little bit higher up on the hamstring. After we do that, we're going to work our groin. Keep that toe up as much as possible. And we're going to bring it out to the side and then back to center. And relax that neck. You want to keep it out to the side and back to center. And 10 of these, all right? When you get to here, feel free to do your little pump for 10 at that extended state. The next one, we're dropping the right knee, and what we're going to do is we're going to keep our left shoulder on the ground, and now we're going to carry this over. We're working this hip IT band all the way down, and so the goal is you bring it over, and I like to give some downward traction, and I sometimes get a little, decompression over here in my hip when I do that. The point is, I'm going to go here, I'm going to pull to that point, and I'm going to pull my leg back. Trying to keep tension on it as well. And we're going to do 10 of these. All right? And we bring it across again. Pull down a little. That downward tension feels amazing. A lot of people like to then extend the arm. Feel free to. Whatever you like. From there now, we're going to bring it. Opposite knees coming up. The main leg you're stretching is going to go across that leg. And now we're going to hold the band on that right side. I'm then going to reach up. With that foot at the same time, pull. All right, and then I'm going to bring my foot down and up. 10 of those. Once we get to 10, we place that hand on that knee, and then we start to open up our hip, this hip complex here. Little extensions here to increase that intensity. Lift up that foot. Oh yeah, right here. Now we're going to roll. We're going to stretch the front, the quad. We're going to roll to the opposite side. We're going to keep that band in our hand. Do the best you can to pull this up. Keeping that band around, hopefully, the front of your toe so that you can bend backwards. Let that foot bend. Now, coming here. I'm gonna suck in this butt cheek, and that's gonna increase the intensity of the stretch in my quad. So I'm here, and I'm squeezing and relax. Squeeze, and now if I want to extend my arms, now you can start to get a greater stretch sometimes through your psoas area, up all the way through. All right, it's up to you, but the focus here is mainly the quad. So suck that hip in 10 times. Good job. Now we're gonna move to the psoas. Okay guys, now we're gonna stretch our psoas muscle here, so try to pay attention to me as I talk here, not so much Rachel. All right, but what we have to remember here is we want to open up this area. All right, it causes a lot of us problems because we're so tightly restricted here. We text, we type, we write, we sleep. All right, in that crouch position, we need to open areas up. So what you have to remember is, as I put this band around you, whatever side the band goes on, that side arm is what is extended in the air. So you need to make sure you have a solid anchor point up top, because it's going to allow you to stretch up high at the same time thrusting forward, and it's going to then help stretch that psoas area. Now, you also have to remember, if you don't have someone helping you, you can anchor this to an area, all right? It's just going to need to be far enough away to where it's going to give you the stretch that you need. So sometimes having a partner in this is a little bit easier to do, all right? Finally, we're going to step on through here as we do this. This has to kind of go up there, crotch a little bit, a little uncomfortable, but then over the hip as well, okay? Over the hip, that's the big part. This needs to be over the hip so you kind of pull that hip forward there. All right, let's kneel down on the left. Good. Excellent. Extend your arm as high as you can. Now, what I'm going to be doing is she's going to tilt her pelvis a little bit, so she's going to hump the air. That's it, guys. You know how to do it. Hump that air a little bit, and then I'm going to give her some tension, pulling her forward. All right? I want her to come into it until she feels enough to where it's a great stretch. Now, what she's going to do is, I'm staying here. She's going to pull back out of the stretch to let it go, just like we do when we do the extension release when we're doing for our leg, and then she's going to come right back in. And she's going to do 10 of these. After she does her 10, she's going to stay up in this flexed position here, and then she's going to do those wiggles we talked about, short little movements. Yep, right in her hips. 10 of those. Don't make it fast. Don't over-exaggerate it. Try to get that little bit of movement in there throughout your hips just to open up. Make sure you keep full extension on that arm there. You could twist your arms a little bit, maybe turn your body a little bit to get a little bit more of an exaggeration in certain parts of your psoas and in your core that you might like, that might feel better for you. So play with it a little bit, but be careful in this stretch here. Okay guys, we're gonna do the upper body. Remember, like I told you, like when you get up in the morning, what I want you to do is I want you just to kind of start out a little bit of bouncing. All right, let those shoulders get nice and loose. Get some blood flow in there, create an automatic pump, raise that blood pressure a little bit by just bouncing. You want to see to get these collarbones straight across. And then I like to just kind of give, even if I don't have a band, just a little bit of a pulling down, traction down, getting these collarbones straight across. So now if we go into the band training, again, a purple band, strength band, or something greater, we're going to start out, we're just going to open up the chest. Take it to whatever range of motion you feel comfortable. We're going to do 10 repetitions of all these for about a second or two for each one, right? And go whatever level you feel comfortable, and a little bit of discomfort, but you don't want to overdo it here now. And pay attention from one side to the other on how it feels. Next, we're going to go overhead arm extended. If we're going to grab with our right side, I want you to take your right leg backwards, all right? And the goal here is we're going to look right underneath our armpit. At the same time we're looking underneath our armpit and stepping our leg back, we're going to rotate this hand up here. So, I'm coming through, you need full extension. You got to let this arm get stretched, all right? And I'm going to look underneath, rotate this hand up, and then I'm going to go right back down into it. Now, if I want to increase and create a little bit greater intensity in the stretch and have it work its way down, I'm going to push this heel to the floor and try to reach. So don't be afraid to pull that leg back a little bit to gain a little bit more range of motion. And then work on that rotation here. 10 of those. From there, we're going to grab the band. We're going to stand tall. Got to stand tall. Chest out. We're going to walk forward slowly. We're going to feel to the point to where our shoulders are they're at that point to where no more, they're gonna snap. Now, what you do to increase the intensity of the stretch here, you can either walk back a couple steps and then walk back into the stretch, or what I like to do is take deep breaths, and as you take that deep breath, it's gonna increase the intensity of the stretch. So as I'm breathing in deep, I feel the greater intensity throughout my shoulders here, then I relax. And I'll do 10 of those. All right? So now you're working on building up a little bit of that lung capacity there at the same time. So you can do either one. Next, what we're gonna do, so we're gonna attach the band a little bit higher than shoulder height. And then what we're gonna do is, because we're gonna bring this arm behind us here. Thumb up is the key. I'm going to create energy in the band by pulling it down. I'm going to grab it, and then once I let go, that band is going to start to pull up on my hand and increase the intensity of the stretch through my shoulder here. That's the key. If I want greater intensity, I reach back down, pull on that band, get a little bit more energy, and then I let it go again. Again, from here, I'll take 10 big deep breaths. It's going to increase the intensity of the stretch. Each time, let that arm slowly come down, bounce it out a little bit, get blood flow back in there, all right? And then switch and go to the opposite side. The next stretch is our arm across our body. I like the band to be at shoulder height, maybe a little bit higher, all right, for this one. Now you can do it two different ways. You can you have to have the arm completely extended here. All right, a lot of people like to hold tension here. Don't. Relax, man. Relax. All right, slide the feet over with it. Everything's in line. I already have a great stretch right here before I even start. It's pulling right through my deltoid down into my arm. Now, all I do is take this opposite hip and rotate it, and it's going to increase the intensity of the stretch. What you can also do is take this opposite arm and drape it over the top. It's going to create a little bit greater stretch, pulling down and across now. So a little bit of a different type of traction. Pull down. Now I'm rotating my 10 times all the way through. All right. After that, what do? You shake it out, move a little bit, throw some punches, nice and loose. Finally, we're going to bring it all the way down to the ground, or close to it. From here, now watch. I'm going to grab, I want downward traction this arm. I want to see the band pull me down here. So what I'm going to do is stand the exact same way I just did with the arm across the body. I'm going to grab behind me now. So I'm grabbing the band behind me and standing tall. Nice big deep breath, 10 times. If I want now, I can take my opposite ear and bring it to my opposite shoulder, and now I create a stretch all the way up into my neck and down. I can slide out a couple steps, stretch, and walk back in and do 10 of those. Or you walk out, you get a good stretch, and now rotate. Turn that hip forward, and it's going to increase the stretch throughout your shoulder just a little bit differently. Play with all three of them. Do 4 or 5 of each if you want to equal 10 or 12 repetitions. It's completely up to you. When you're done, shake it out. Finally, let's stretch our fingers. We have to continue to stretch our fingers, guys. Arm completely extended. Grab one finger at the base. Pull back. You want to get flexion in the wrist as well as in the fingers. And pull back. Pull back. Hold it for a good 5, 6, 7, up to 10 seconds for each finger. Do the thumb. Once you're done, rotate, twist, give some good. Try to keep all this extended here. Thanks a lot, boys.